Well, hello. My name is Daddy-O. I do some YouTube stuff on a couple channels. What do you do when you rent a vehicle to do your Ubering in? I'm an Uber driver, if you haven't heard. What do you do when you rent a vehicle to do your Ubering in, and then you decide to do a YouTube channel, and you start talking about that on the YouTube channel, that you're renting a vehicle? What do you do when people start blasting you? Hello. Look, I want to talk about the subject that seems everyone's eating up, I guess, right now. And I do an Uber rental. I pay $305 a week. And there's a lot of benefits to that. And this, if you are an Uber driver and you drive a car that's 10 years old, I'm not talking to you today. This is not for you unless you're going to go rent a vehicle, because you're not going to understand it. I have done Uber a long time. I'm a 5.0. I've got over 10,000 runs. For you guys never seen me before, I'm a 5.0. I've done over 10,000 runs. I've been doing Uber for 6 years. And for the last 2.5 years, I've been renting a vehicle. And some people can't seem to understand it. I'm getting so many comments, and thank you for the comments, and thank you for the subscriptions. I appreciate that. Trying to get to 700, I think it is now. So thank you for the ones that have subscribed. But listen, I don't know how. In some of the videos there, some people, one thing here, if you're watching right now, watch to the end of the video. Don't shut it off, because I can tell by the comments I'm getting, people are not watching the entire explanation. All right. If you want to grasp the concept of what I'm talking, this is not for everybody. This is not for everyone. Okay. I do Uber different than a lot of people, I guess, do Uber. All right. I work it at a different angle. I work a certain location. I work a certain clientele. I try to in my area. I know my area damn well, and I do a good job at it. That's why I'm a 5.0, because I do certain things, and I've tried to do that. Tell you on the tip. I've done tip videos on here, how to increase your tips. Go watch those. Okay. But the concept that some people are having a hard time with, because they do Uber a certain way, they're having a hard time grasping how I'm doing it, I guess. Okay, so there are different ways to do Uber. It's an open platform. You can go here, you can go there, you can work it any way you want to work it. You can take the runs you want, you can turn down the runs that you don't want. I do a lot of turn downs. I don't take every run, all right? But I work a concentrated area that I know completely well, so that I can make the good tips on that area. It's raining here. We needed rain. It's been absolutely gorgeous the last 4 days, so every once in a while you got to have one of these. But if you're doing Uber the way I do it, and I'm only talking to people that are interested in doing it the way I might be doing it to help you a little bit, you don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to sit out here and do a whole lot of BS runs. You concentrate on the runs that you want in your concentrated area. You focus on your clientele. You get to know your community. You know where place is at. As you're taking people, you can tell them stuff as you're going. That helps increase the tips. You do the smell. You do the music. I've gone through videos on that. That's how I work my Uber. I don't have to think about my car not starting. I don't have to think about all those kind of things. I've done videos on this. Now you can go look at some of the other videos. I don't have to pay insurance on my vehicle. Only thing I have to do, I have unlimited miles. Only thing I have to do is go get in my car. Go get in my vehicle and go to work. If I have a problem, it's taken care of. People that are saying, hey, and I get comments consistently off of the videos that I've been doing on this subject, talking about the $3,000, the $4,000, the $5,000 cars that they can do. Yeah, you can do that. Those are called beater cars. You're working a different angle on Uber. I don't do that. So when you want to say, hey, you can't do that. You shouldn't, I can't do that. You're only working for Avis. You're only working for Uber. No, you're not. If you're working this the right way, you can exceed what that weekly fee is. You can make more by focusing on doing Uber as a profession, I guess you could say, not as a part-time job. So if you're just doing Uber a couple days a week, when you get off in the afternoons, you go out and do some Ubering in the evening. I completely understand. You got to use whatever I've done that. You got to use whatever vehicle you can use. I'm talking to people basically that want to consider doing Uber as a full-time gig, as their main source of what they do. All right, those people, if you're doing it right, you can really make some money. And I'm gonna tell you again, you can make more money with a rental than I did when I had my own personal car or running my own personal vehicles. I make more money than that. I make it in tips galore because I'm pulling up in a brand new vehicle. I'm not pulling up in my 10-year-old Land Rover that I ran into the ground. I'm not pulling up in that had a ding in the door over there where someone had hit it one night. I'm not pulling up. It had a crack in the windshield across up in the corner up here. It was okay for Uber, but it wasn't okay. It wasn't making me what I learned that once I started renting and making sure that your car smells good. I've showed you those things before. I got mine somewhere over here in the seat. But you make sure your car is smelling good. You make sure you got the right kind of music playing, that neutral music I've talked about. I've done videos on this subject. So if you're new here and you just stumbled across this video, there are videos on this channel that will kind of go into more details on the tip angle. And that's the angle I've preached before that I work when I do my Ubering. And I feel like sometimes I'm talking about the same things I've talked about in videos before because I am. And I'm learning that there are new people coming to this channel now, thank you very much, that haven't heard this before. Didn't see that video 4 weeks ago, 2 months ago on this subject or about some of this stuff. So sometimes I have to repeat it. But it works. This is, take it from someone that's old, that's experienced. I have done transportation work for 27, 28 years of some sort or another. I have done the limos, I've done the party buses, I've done the black sedans, I have done the taxis. God, some of the taxis I've drove before, oh my God, I don't know how they were legal for the road. I've done those businesses. Right now, in this vehicle or in any vehicle that I've been renting, I'm doing more. I'm more profitable because I have learned over the years from people getting in and out of my vehicle what's on their mind. It's the music. What's on their mind? The smell of your car. What's on their mind? How clean is your car? If you're hitting those key points and you've got a brand new car to ride around in, you're going to make more money. I'm doing it. I've done it. So when you come back and say, oh, you can't, you're working for, no, you're not. This is, and I've explained it in the video the other day, this is my business. All right? This is my storefront. I'll say it again. I said it the other day. This is my storefront. When you get in here, you're in my store. So at that point, I need to, when you walk in a store, you want a clean store to walk into. You don't want stuff laying all over the floors and stuff you got to step over. You don't want a pungent smell coming out of there, or cigarette smell coming out of the store when you walk into it. You want it to be well lit. You want it to be that environment. That's the same thing you want when you walk into a place of business. This is my business. I treat it that way. I'm not out here running beater cars. Never going to run another beater car. Won't happen, because I've learned that if I do certain things along the way while I'm doing my Uber, I'm going to make more money. It's just that simple. You just got to pay attention. Treat it as a business, or treat it as your part-time thing. Again, you guys that are still hanging with me that are only going to do Uber on occasions, the weekend, When you get off of work in the afternoons or before you go to work in the afternoons, you go out in the morning and do some Ubering. I completely understand. You got to do what you got to do. All right. But you guys that want to actually turn this Uber into a business, treat it as a business, respect it as a business. And the easiest way I have is to let Uber and Avis supply me a vehicle that's brand new, that they maintain. All I got to do is put gas in it and go to work, pay them $305 a week, and I could care less about that $305, because if you work in Uber the way I'm telling you to work it, you can make $305 is nothing to you. All right. So just plan ahead, how you going to do your Ubering, and let it roll. Anyway, that's it for the day. Daddy-O out. You guys have a good time. Go rent you a vehicle and go to work. Damn it. Bye.